26.16 is a pretty big one relative to what we've seen as of late, with a mass amount of item and rune adjustments. So let's get you guys set up with everything that you have to know for when the patch goes live this upcoming Wednesday, August 12th. Sunfire Aegis is first up on the buff list, as it's going to have its Immolate damage bonus health ratio increase from 1 to 1.5%, while its base Immolate damage is going down from 160 to 150% against minions, and from 200 to 180% against monsters. The cost of Sunfire is actually being increased too, from 2,700 to 2,800 gold. So even though Riot does have Sunfire Aegis under the buff category, the changes, they really don't seem to be that big by any means, considering there's compensation nerfs thrown in too. Eclipse is going to be gaining some offensive power in exchange for some loss in defensive strength, with its passive max health damage going up from 6 to 8% for melee and from 4 to 5% for ranged. The passive shield is going to be nerfed though, with melee value dropping from 160 to 150 and ranged value dropping from 80 to 75. So definitely a net buff with how much more damage you're going to be getting in exchange for a small loss in durability. Tiamat is going to receive a buff as its AD is going up from 20 to 25. The tier 3 boots upgrade for Sork shoes called Spellslinger shoes is going to see a buff with its magic pen going up from 18 to 20. Tier 3 boots upgrade for Berserker's Greaves, which is called Gunmetal Greaves, is buffed with its attack speed being increased from 40 to 45%. And then Berserker's Greaves on their own is going to be buffed too, with attack speed going up from 25 to 30%. The jungle pet is going to become stronger for this patch, but only for AP and tank junglers. Damage to monsters AP ratio is going to be up from 12 to 16%. Damage to monsters bonus armor and magic resist ratios are up from 20 to 25%, and then damage to monsters bonus health ratio is being increased from 3 to 4%. Fleet footwork is going to see a buff with its base healing being increased from 10 scaling to 130 to 15 scaling to 160. Hurricane is going to see 2 buffs for 26.16, with its movement speed being increased from 4 to 5%, while passive AD ratio is up from 55 to 65%. And then Steric's Gauge is going to have its passive base AD to bonus AD conversion increase from 45 to 50%. For the item nerfs now, we've got Sundered Sky losing some power as a ruby crystal is being removed from the build path, and instead, you're just going to need to have 900 gold to fully complete the item. Passive healing is going to be nerfed, with the base AD dropping from 100 to 90% for melee and from 50 to 45% for ranged. Missing health healing is also down from 6 to 4%, and then there's one compensation buff with the health of Sundered Sky going up from 400 to 450. The tier 3 boots upgrade from Mercury Treads called Chain-Laced Crushers is going to be nerfed, with its magic resist dropping from 30 to 25. The support quest progression is going to be changed for this patch as well, so that you now gain more value when last hitting minions, and you gain less value when you consume charges on champion or turret damage. This change right here is going to try and nerf the strength of roaming supports and buff those who choose to stay in lane. Hail of Blades is receiving a pretty hefty nerf this time around, with its attack speed for melee champs being reduced from 120 to 90%. Ranged value does stay the same, and true damage proc is dropping from 4 scaling to 20 to 2 scaling to 20, while the bonus AD ratio is up from 8 to 12%, and AP ratio is up from 6 to 10%. So all ADCs are going to have their base magic resist increased by 3, while their magic resist per level is being reduced by 0.2 to try and allow these champs to lane better into mages. Black Cleaver is going to be adjusted so that its AD is up from 40 to 45. However, the ranged movement speed is going to go down from 20 to 10. So a flat out buff to melee champs and a more lateral change for ranged characters. So on to the direct champion changes now. Kennen is going to be buffed with his resist while using R going up from 20 scaling to 60 to 25 scaling to 75. R damage is going to go up as well from 40 scaling to 110 to 40 scaling to 120, while our AP ratio is being increased from 22.5 to 25%. Riot has a buff lined up for Gwen as her passive healing against champions is up from 50 to 66%. Azir is going to be receiving a damage buff to his Q as it's being increased from 60 scaling to 140 to 70 scaling to 150. Poppy is going to become much weaker for this patch due to those Hail of Blades nerfs, and then she's also being directly nerfed as well. Base AD is going to go down from 60 to 56, base mana is up from 280 to 300, and mana per level is up from 40 to 45. Health regen per 5 seconds is up from 8 to 9. Q damage bonus AD ratio is going to be down from 100 to 75%, while max health ratio drops from 9% flat to 7 scaling to 9%. Q slow is going to be nerfed, going from 20 scaling to 40% to 20 scaling to 32%. Q slow is going to have a bonus health ratio though now, and provide 8% slow per 1000 bonus health. W total armor and magic resist is going to go up from 12 to 16%. Camille's support has been a pretty big problem in high elo and pro as of late, so she's being targeted for 26.16 to combat this. Base mana is going to go up from 339 to 375. Passive shield is going to be nerfed, going from 20% max health every 18 scaling to 6 seconds, with the cooldown scaling from levels 1 to 19 to now 10 scaling to 25% max health every 14 scaling to 8 seconds, with the cooldown scaling from levels 1 to 13. And then W cooldown is going to be buffed, going from 15 scaling to 11 seconds to 12 scaling to 10 seconds. So as players get accustomed to the new Bel'Veth, she's been performing a lot better and better and better, which means Riot is going to be nerfing her in 26.16, with her health growth dropping from 110 to 105, and our buff total attack speed is going to go down from 5 scaling to 25% to 6 scaling to 20%. Nasus is going to be the final champ on the change list for this patch, as his Q stacks are going to be adjusted. Instead of 3 stacks per Q, you're now going to gain 4 stacks. However, champion, large monster, and large minion stack value is going to go down from 12 to 10. So this is definitely going to be a nerf to Nasus jungle, but a buff to top lane Nasus. But hey, while videos like these that we just went through give you insights on what to play, our brand new Season 16 Essentials course for every role teaches you how to win. Each of them designed to walk you through every stage of the game from start to finish, from the exact trading and recall timers that you need to win lane, to the mid-game macro decisions that 99% of players on the internet just get completely wrong, all the way to the team fighting tips and tricks challengers abuse to always deal the highest damage possible. Whether you're a top laner in the most unfavorable matchup in all of League history, a mid laner having to deal with everybody in your lane 24/7, a jungler trying to balance ganking and farming, an ADC stuck trying to hard carry with a support who just exists to grief you, or maybe a support that's struggling to carry games on your own. Our Essentials courses are tailor-made to focus on the exact concepts that actually matter for climbing, on your role in your elo. Check them out today, completely risk-free, using the link in the pinned comment or description below, as if you don't climb at least 5 divisions, you get every penny back. So there you have it, everyone. Lots of different changes coming up for 26.16 that should lead to an interesting shift in the meta. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.